for protests. We've heard that from the former president again. We've heard leaders really on both sides of the aisle say, in essence, do not protest. We are not going to see what we have seen in our country before. Even the Republican leader, the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, has urged people not to protest this decision if and when it comes. Now it has, in fact, come. But we know that there is stepped up security here in New York and beyond because of this.
Absolutely, David. Law enforcement officials, particularly at the federal level, have been loath to comment much at all about the situation unfolding in Manhattan. Suffice it to say, they are very aware of what happened on January 6th, and those statements by former President Trump about death and destruction did not go unnoticed. They have facts in the past that suggest that there might be people that would act out on behalf of the president, angry about what he is about to undertake. So law enforcement officials, I think we can expect to see in New York and other locations, including here in Washington, will be on alert. I know from sources that I've talked to that they've been really mining the intelligence, listening for information from that part of the world that generated the January 6th to see if there's anything specific. I was told last week, David, that they had uncovered no specific allegation of a direct threat of violence, but it's something they're very concerned about, David.
Now, on the second question for you, Pierre, the special counsel's investigation that is ongoing, obviously, as this investigation in New York was as well. Jack Smith looking into two separate cases here. Obviously, the events leading up and including January 6th, and also the discovery of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. We've seen indication in recent days that that investigation has in fact ramped up. So we're looking at this case and potentially two more investigations involving the special counsel and the investigation in Georgia.
Absolutely. And I know from sources directly that one of the reasons why Merrick Garland chose Jack Smith is that he was known as being extremely aggressive. You've seen in recent weeks through the reporting of our investigative team that he's been pushing on the issue of executive privilege. He wants to get answers from the people closest to President Trump so that he can figure out what, if anything, he should do in terms of these cases. Now, I'm being told that the issue of fraud and the fake electors is of high interest to Special Counsel Smith. Also, this whole issue of, how state officials were contacted, who was doing it on the president's behalf, what did he know about that? So that is very much being pursued aggressively. That said, they are keeping it totally separate from what's happening in the District of New York in terms of the Manhattan District Attorney, because they know that they cannot be seen as playing politics. It's something, David, that people here are particularly concerned about. So they're trying to do all their talking in court at present.
There had been so many questions, Pierre, or thanks to you, so many questions about whether there would be any sort of not official any coordination between these investigations. There had been some talk, as we heard from John Santucci earlier, that a decision to vote this grand jury might be delayed until after perhaps the Easter holiday, that this would be weeks from now. Instead, word coming late this afternoon that the grand jury did vote this afternoon. They voted to indict the former president. Again, the history made as we now approach 6 o'clock here in the East, involving a former president, the first time a former president has been criminally charged in this country. And John Santucci, I want to bring it back to you because you've learned that the Secret Service has now been in touch with members of Trump's team.
Trump's team has made proactive calls to the Secret Service, David, trying to figure out what exactly this would look like. And it's twofold, right? It's the security around Mar-a-Lago. It is an island. It is a complex. There is only one bridge to get there. So that is concern number one. And then it's obviously the concern of getting him up to New York. Look, as Aaron was talking about earlier, bike racks, they are the new thing surrounding the DA's office in Lower Manhattan. I can tell you from just walking around Trump Tower in Midtown earlier this week, the racks are back, the cinder blocks are there. It looks as though it was the days when Donald Trump, frankly, had a different address at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But For the moment, we don't know when this trip would be to New York. We had heard weeks ago that it would be a process. It would be several days. We wouldn't expect to see Donald Trump in New York the day after word of an indictment. Obviously, we are checking that. We're not sure. But it's going to be a process to physically bring him here. And what does that look like as far as the courtroom? And you have to remember, too, David, though it would be Donald Trump's arraignment, there's other business in criminal court. There are other criminals, frankly, in criminal court. So actually sealing off the building for the former president's protection, as he is a Secret Service protectee, is going to be a high priority, both for the Secret Service and NYPD.
John Santucci with us here. Aaron Katersky, I want to go back to you down in Lower Manhattan. And Aaron, to get to John's point earlier about what this could look like, what are your sources inside the DA's office telling you about potentially what Americans would see?
All right, we're continuing to monitor what ABC is reporting right now on this indictment of former President Donald Trump. We're going to continue to monitor it. He was just indicted by a Manhattan grand jury.
And just to recap just a bit of what ABC News has been reporting, it was a decision by the jury. It makes Trump the first ever former U.S. president to be charged with a crime. According to the Associated Press and other outlets, he has been indicted on charges involving payments made during the 2016
court, and that can be a game time decision, but everything that happens will undoubtedly be highly choreographed. We don't yet know what the charges are. Those will not be unsealed until Trump appears here at court. But we know the grand jury had been examining evidence of Trump's alleged role in falsifying business records of his company when, as Michael Cohen, his former fixer, has said, he accounted for the payment.
All right, we're continuing to monitor the situation in New York City right now, and ABC News is reporting of it. Again, several news outlets confirming that former President Donald Trump has just been indicted by a Manhattan grand jury.
Again, this is a decision by the jury. It makes Trump the first ever former U.S. president to be charged with a crime. And again, according to the Associated Press, as well as a number of other outlets, he has been indicted on charges involving the payments made during the 2016 presidential campaign to silence the claims of an extramarital sexual encounter.
Yeah, a lot of political experts are now saying the announcement is a major blow to his bid for the White House in 2024. We'll see. We'll, of course, have more on this breaking news story as more details are released. We're waiting exactly for the details of when the former president, who's expected to turn himself in, when that'll happen and how.
Yes, he's expected to surrender and face arraignment. But again, none of this officially announced. This is all just coming from news outlets right now.
Yeah, when we get more details, of course, we'll bring it to you. But right now, we want to get to some breaking news locally, back here at home. San Antonio police responding to shots fired on Santa Ana Street just before 3 this afternoon. It's near West Avenue and West Hildebrand.
They say that two men were hanging out at a house. At some point, one of them accused the other of fooling around with his girlfriend, and the men started arguing. And that is when the suspect pulled out a gun and shot the victim in the leg.
The police say the man also had an injury in the groin, but because they only found one bullet casing, they believe the bullet may have moved around. At last check, investigators have one witness. It is unclear, though, whether they actually have anyone in custody. The counsel doctrine. It's been around for years, and when it comes to home break-ins such as robberies and burglaries on your property, that is what it covers. But what rights do you have to defend your property if it's stolen?
Now, we have reported a few stories so far this year about victims tracking down suspects, resulting in more violence and sometimes serious injury. We even had a death this week. Our Jonathan Cotto speaks with a law professor to understand the parameters of the counsel law.
The counsel doctrine is actually a really old common law doctrine. And the basic idea is that if through no fault of a person's own, they're attacked in their home, they don't have a duty to retreat before they use self-defense.
St. Mary's law professor Alexandra Klein says the idea behind the doctrine is that your home is your castle.
And so you don't have to retreat before you protect yourself.
The castle doctrine in Texas provides people the legal right to self-defense when in a private space. Klein says property defense is slightly different from self-defense.
People are allowed to use force to protect property The issue often comes with the kind of force people use. And in Texas and in other jurisdictions, the law usually doesn't let people use deadly force to protect their property, except in certain limited situations.
Just this week alone, there have been 2 incidents involving Apple AirTags being used to track down stolen vehicles, and vehicle owners taking matters into their own hands. Klein says the counsel doctrine wouldn't exactly apply in these cases.
The law generally doesn't permit the use of deadly force to recover one's property if you've sort of tracked it down over a period of time. A person can use force, the Texas statute says sort of in immediate pursuit, but that word immediate does a lot of work, right? It's sort of happening right then and there.
So the counsel law typically refers to situations when you are inside your home. However,
the law would certainly protect the use, would determine that force is reasonable if you're inside your vehicle and someone is trying to break in, that your use of force might be presumed reasonable as long as you satisfy the other criteria.
in any event, San Antonio police advise the community not taking matters into their own hands and say file a report right away with a clear description of your vehicle. They add they have the necessary resources to help and recover stolen property. Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
I have an update on that deadly shooting at the Lincoln Heights courts earlier this week. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office has released the name of the victim. He is Donald Townsend. San Antonio police arrived at the apartment complex on Lambrano Street near North Elmendorf Street. That's where they found Townsend with a gunshot wound to the chest. Detectives say the shooting involved a 20-year-old suspect, but so far no charges have been filed. Friends of the 30-year-old victim say he was a beloved youth sports coach. The medical examiner's office calling the shooting incident a homicide. I want you to look at this. This vacant lot is where a San Antonio couple wanted to build their dream home. They made an offer on the listing. Trouble was, wasn't for sale.
It was actually a scam, and it's the type of fastest growing real estate fraud that is sweeping our country. 12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz explaining this dirty deal.
This was it because it was over an acre, gorgeous area, level lot for a great price.
When Josanna Quintanilla saw this corner lot in Helotes for sale for $250,000, she called the listing agent and made a cash offer.
Seemed to be the perfect situation where he wanted a cash offer that closed quickly.
Realtor Sarah Buheider said the seller had contacted her to market his land.
He provided me all of the correct information that a typical seller, legitimate seller would give you to list a property.
All was good until she found a conflicting phone number for the property owner and called it.
The voicemail voice that I heard was totally different than the phone number that I had been talking to.
Turns out her client was an imposter.
She texted me urgent. She said, I have some bad news. It's a fraud. And I told her, you've got to be kidding me.
It's no joke. The Secret Service is warning of a sharp increase in vacant land scams. Easy targets.
Who checks on their vacant lot on a regular basis?
Thomas Cronkite works to prevent wire fraud. He says this one works like this. The bad guy searches public records to find vacant property free of liens.
They would then impersonate the owner by creating credentials and typically an email that looks like it's in the name of the owner.
They contact a listing agent and want a cash offer. At closing, they don't sign in person, but request a notary, which they also fake. The money is then wired to the scammer.
It's unfathomable just thinking that this could happen and nobody would know about it.
The scheme may not be found out for weeks, leading to a potential legal mess. So how can you prevent this con job?
I think it's a shared responsibility. I mean, this really deals with, do we know the customer that we're dealing with?
Fortunately, Buheider was skeptical and stopped the sale. How close were you to losing a ton of money?
I mean, to be halfway through a deal and know in 2 weeks, $200,000 could have been wired to the wrong person, absolute shocking.
Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
A Mexican court has issued arrest warrants for 6 people in connection to Monday's deadly fire at a migrant center. This comes as close to 1,000 migrants protested in Mexico at the Ciudad Juarez migrant facility, where 39 migrants were killed. Mexico's lead prosecutor says the suspects include 3 officials from the Mexico National Immigration Institute, 2 private security guards contracted by that agency, and the person who allegedly started the fire. She says each suspect facing charges of homicide and causing injuries.
We're going to take a live look outside at 410 and Ingram North, and traffic moving along so much better than it did earlier this morning. We had traffic accidents all over the city on wet streets. Now looks like it's smooth sailing.
Yeah, and Ursula, at least we picked up a little bit of moisture from that drizzle and those sprinkles, just over 1/10 of an inch, 1/1100ths of an inch measured at the airport. So that persistent drizzle and even a few sprinkles paid off a little bit, better than nothing. 78 degrees, our high temperature today, which is just 1 degree above the average. Right now, you look at the radar, a few sprinkles far east of San Antonio, very hit or miss and mostly miss, but we are expecting some more dampness to settle in later on tonight and early tomorrow. Eagle Pass at 74 now, 81 in Santa Maria, 76 in Mico, beautiful Windcrest. City of Lights currently at 77. And as we go through the evening, mainly gray, a few isolated light showers are possible. Then the fog and drizzle sets back in again late tonight and first thing tomorrow. I don't think it's going to last as long tomorrow. We'll get more into that and how a cold front's going to be affecting our weather in just a bit.
Thank you, Adam. Straight ahead, a local healthcare system offering reconstructive surgeries for free. The specific procedures doctors are going to be performing and how you can apply after the break.
I'm Myra Arthur, and here's a look at what we're working on for the news at 6 o'clock today. He is accused of committing a crime with him. Today, he testified against him. We're talking about the murder trial of Jimmy Tran we've been following this week. We'll share that testimony from the co-defendant and what role he claims Tran played in the case. Plus, people living in the outer parts of Bexar County say there are not enough deputies to control crime there. A bill introduced in the Texas legislature could add more peace officers. We're going to take a look at that proposed legislation and how much it would cost taxpayers. Plus, marijuana is on the ballot this May for San Antonio voters. An effort to decriminalize pot possession under 4 ounces is a central part of the sweeping Prop A. But San Antonio wouldn't be the first. We take a look at what other cities have done as well. All that and more coming your way today on the news at 6.
Thank you, Myra. We'll see you then. Well, free physical reconstructive surgeries for kids and teens. Free. It's being offered by University Health right now, the local healthcare system teaming up with the nonprofit Fresh Start Surgical Gifts, accepting applications now for the surgeries that will take place this summer on June 24th and 25th. The lead surgeon for this effort is University Health's own Dr. Ian Mitchell. He and a team of other doctors will perform to correct cleft lips and palates, as well as eye and soft tissue surgeries and procedures to treat scarring and other skin conditions. For more details and to apply, log on to their website, freshstart.org.
Taking a look outside with live cam. This has been the picture the entire day. I don't think we even saw a glimpse of sunshine today, Adam.
Yeah, not here in the Alamo City. Some other parts of our viewing area had a little bit of sun, but overall not a whole lot. And it's warmer, upper 70s and even some low 80s out there. I do want to mention we'll have another damp morning tomorrow. I just don't think it's going to last as long. The visibility is going to improve more quickly. And actually, it's going to lead to a sunny and warm Friday afternoon, and then some record challenging warmth as we get into next week. Take a look at our temperature trend. Tomorrow, back to 90 with that afternoon sun and a westerly breeze. This weekend will be in the mid 80s, a little bit of a temperature drop because of a weak cold front. And then look at next week, 95 by Tuesday. That would actually break the current record high by 2 degrees. That's in advance of another cold front that'll moderate temperatures a little bit. Across the state, mainly just light rain activity, a decent amount of cloud cover and some light showers, pockets of rain here and there. I mentioned earlier 1/1100ths of an inch at the airport. Better than nothing. We'll take it, but overall not what we need to dig out of the drought. And by the way, I'll have the newest drought monitor coming up at 6 o'clock. Upper level system that's off to the west, got a cold front associated with it, and that Pacific cold front's going to move through later in the day tomorrow. It really just going to drop the humidity for us. You're looking at our futurecast, another foggy and drizzly start to the day tomorrow, a few sprinkles to very light showers, and then notice by the midday and early afternoon, we clear out and we'll have sunshine, and I think a decent amount of sunshine for the second half of the day. So drizzle and fog, yes, 20% chance of light sprinkles here and there. Sunday, a 20% chance of a few storms. Wednesday and Thursday of next week, right now we're saying 20% chance of storms. However, this has the potential to be even better chances. So that's something we'll keep an eye on and keep you updated. 68 in the morning, then 90 by the afternoon with that wind turning to the west at 10 to 15. 92 in Floresville and Pleasanton, 88 Bernie, Bulverde. Looking ahead, we mentioned those rain chances through the weekend, and then next week, cranking up the heat a bit.
Thank you so much. We have a big week in golf ahead of us.
Yeah, let's head out to the Valero Texas Open at the JW Marriott. Larry.
Yeah, guys, I'm standing just to the right of the 18th hole, so off to my left, but they're right if you're looking at it this way. So yes, it's the first round of the Valero Texas Open. It was delayed today due to fog. We'll update you on that because it really pushed back the tee times. And Jeremy Sohan's prediction last night did not come true. Coming up.
We love you all, and any Utah fans here, you're about to lose tonight. Go Spurs, go!
That was Jeremy Sohan before the Jazz beat the Spurs last night in Big Board Sports. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome live to TPC San Antonio, the Oaks course, where the first round of the Valero Texas Open is underway, but it's running behind due to fog. Check it out. So the original scheduled 7:30 a.m. tee times were postponed 48 minutes because of lack of visibility. The first of two postponements. First round play resumed at 11:20 this morning, pushing tee times back 3 hours and 25 minutes from the original starting times. Matt Kuchar now, hole 18, which is his 9th hole of the round, less than 5 feet away for birdie, and he drains it, putting him into a three-way tie for first at that time. And checking out your leaderboard now, you have Matt Kuchar and Padraig Harrington as co-leaders at 4 under par. There are several golfers that are one shot behind them. So the Spurs played their final home game of the season last night, and they lost, but it was still a good chance for the young Spurs to get better and play another game together. Now, this game saw 7 lead changes and 8 ties. The Spurs' largest lead was 2 points a couple of times, while the Jazz led by as many as 19 in the fourth quarter before the Spurs cut it down to 7 with $1:18 to go on a Malachi Branham slam dunk. But Utah goes on to win 128-117, handing San Antonio its 5th straight loss. Branham led the Spurs with 21. Trey Jones, Devontae Graham, and Sandro Mamukelashvili all scored 17 points apiece. Before the game, Jeremy Sohan, as you heard, he did not play, of course. He addressed the crowd on fan appreciation, not to say thanks for coming this season, and then he said the Jazz were going to lose. What did his teammates think of that?
Yeah, Jeremy's a character. I don't know if he should have a mic. I don't think we should ever do that again. No, that was crazy. When he said that, I'm like, and then he came in, he's like, y'all better win. We tried. We were speechless. Even Pop was speechless.
Oh, you never know what Jeremy's going to say.
When he mentioned the other team, I was like, oh, God, where is this going? But, I felt like that was tame for him. We're lucky.
The Spurs start a 3-game West Coast road trip this Friday night against the Warriors at 9 p.m. More VTO at 6. We'll be right back.
Much more of that breaking news. Donald Trump indicted today.
Thanks for watching the News at 5. World News is next. See you back here at 6.